that takes a lot of courage to bare your soul that way and to share your art, like your art and your words. So thank you very much. I want to John's poetry points to exactly why we're here today, that we have a long way to go. And that when we started, you know, a few years ago saying that poverty reduction was essential, and, you know, we worked our buns off to try to get that message across and convince the government, like, please work with us and say that 25 and 5 is good and move forward in this incremental way. It made a whole bunch of sense, and it was the right thing to do at that very right time. And it really galvanized, obviously, so many communities. I know what it did in Hamilton when we first heard Marvin and Peter come and present a blueprint, and then all of a sudden we were just on fire about how can we actually affect change. And did it affect change? Absolutely. We have, you know, I work at a social planning council, so we like to have evidence and stuff, you know, sometimes qualitative and sometimes quantitative. But we have both that to show that this kind of effort works and has had an impact. We have evidence that if you fight really hard and urge, you know, at the provincial level, we urged for 25 and 5 to be set as a target, and they said yes. We got halfway there, right? We were happy that they set the target, but it also allowed them to, you know, it was some space there because they said yes, and to children. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against children. I don't have any, and they're not my favorite people. But I like children, you know, children. I know, Laurel, I love children.
They do grow up, and they have to grow up healthy.
That's right, they do, they do.
And you were born into adulthood, weren't you?
I was. I'm an only child. They always say only children are like automatic little adults, so I've never really had it, no, anyway. So I think that it's great that we've been having these efforts and talking about increments, but you know, it was interesting when I started firing this up in Hamilton, and we had the Roundtable for Poverty Reduction started the very same time as 25 and 5 started. And the guy running the Roundtable for Poverty Reduction, Mark Chamberlain, used to say, that's ridiculous, 25 and 5. Who's going to take all the children, it was always about the children, who's going to take all the children and put them in Ira Wynn Stadium in Hamilton and say to this 25%, we're going to lift you out of poverty in 5 years. You tell the other 75. Who's going to tell the other 75%, we're not doing anything for you? And I kept saying, that's not, I mean, it won't work like that. That's ridiculous. And I argued with him just because I like arguing with Mark a lot. That's how I treat millionaires. So we went back and forth on this, and now I finally had to say to him, you're kind of right. Now I have to go back and go, yeah, you know what? Like, the incremental thing was good, but we need to aim higher and make it elimination. We've been talking about elimination. You know, I hear the word eradication. And I think by adopting this kind of a framework to not just talk about reduction, but about elimination or eradication, we'll also not give that latitude or that room where it can only be about the children. We have to say, no, 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 this is about everybody. Because I'm also in this weird position in Hamilton. I'm responsible for student nutrition programs. And the Ontario government keeps saying this is a really great poverty reduction tactic, feeding kids in school. But I don't see any proof that it's actually eliminating poverty, because to eliminate poverty, you have to give somebody some money so they actually have more wealth. And really, student nutrition programs are wonderful. I have to say they're wonderful, but they're really good at building community, and they're maybe good at getting messages about nutrition out, but they're not really, and they're really good at the building community thing, and they feed the immediate hunger, but they're not really reducing poverty. We can't prove that, you know, that those kids now, because they ate breakfast today, are going to be wealthier than the parents and the family that they come from. So we really need a broader lens in so many ways. And so I'm really excited then to hear what this plan is going to look like to actually eradicate poverty instead of just reduce it, and to eliminate it for all. And so that's why for the last, you know, I chaired the 25 and 5 group in Hamilton, and we call ourselves 25 and 5. It's good branding. It's worked really well for us in Hamilton. It sets us apart from the Roundtable, and our group has really held on to that. And it's done great things. We know that in Hamilton, you know, we had that incremental thing with the provincial government. In Hamilton, we had a headline before our municipal election saying 80% of people in Hamilton agreed that money should be invested to end poverty in Hamilton. And so, you know, the Roundtable takes some of that credit, but 25 and 5 takes a lot of that credit in our common campaign. The idea that that before an election, it's important to galvanize and try to make poverty the #1 issue, and we did that. That's another evidence-based kind of thing. If the Spectator writes a headline that 80% of people want to see poverty eliminated in Hamilton, that's our evidence that we had an impact. And now we have an opportunity again with this provincial election coming up to make our message loud and clear and to really to bring it along. And so I've been fighting the 25 and 5 group. On the agenda every month is name change. Name change, because everybody's heard about poverty-free Waterloo and, you know, poverty-free this and that. And so our group wants to change to poverty-free Hamilton. And so next Friday, Marvin and Peter are coming to make their presentation in Hamilton. And then after that, I suspect we will no longer be holding on to 25 and 5, but we're going to be going the whole way, shouting that no, not just reduction, but elimination.